Welcome to the third installment in my gear progression guides. Today's video will take you through the optimal gear progression for the ranged skill. Unlike the last two styles, ranged hasn't really changed too much in the last year. I'm going to be doing all of these upgrades by GP value of the setup, and the reason for this is that it's a lot faster to get max range than it is to get max cash. And here we are, this is the max gear you can get in free-to-play, and before we start upgrading this, let me explain a little bit more about the format. Up here at the top, we have our requirements needed in order to equip it. Most gear requires both range and defense levels. There might be some other requirements, but we'll handle those as needed. Accuracy is our range bonus. This makes you more likely to hit, and then range strength is how strong our range is, and that's going to determine how high we hit. In the neon color, we have the name of the item in case you can't understand me, and then the cost for the entire setup down below. Okay, let's get my face out of there and let's start upgrading our gear. And just a quick note before we begin, a lot of these early ones are extremely cheap, and I'm going to try to do them by level at first, and then we'll switch to doing it by GP a little bit later on, just because all of these early ones, early game range is extremely cheap. But the first thing we're going to get is blue dragon hide. It basically costs like 2k more than the green dragon hide. It's going to give us a little bit more accuracy, and it is going to require us to have 50 ranged. Next, we're going to get the magic short bow. This is the best short bow in the game. It's going to cost us next to nothing, which is great for doing things in the wilderness. It's going to give us access to up to rune arrows. It's going to give us a ton of accuracy and a special attack as well. With that being said, let's just upgrade our arrows to the rune arrows. These are the best ones that we can use with this bow, and it's going to give us more range strength, which means higher max hits. Next, we're going to get the amulet of glory. This is going to give us a little bit of accuracy, but the biggest thing about the amulet of glory is the teleports and prayer bonus that come along with it. Next, we're going to get the Ava's accumulator. Honestly, if you don't have 50 for the blue d'hide, just get this first. This should have been the very first thing, but I already made a bunch of graphics and I'm not going back and fixing them. Anyways, this is going to greatly save a ton of the ammunition that we use. It's going to pick it up off the floor for us. It's a huge quality of life. It saves you a ton of money. This is one of the, if not the most important thing in the video so far. Next up, we need to fill out that boot slot. You can get these snakeskin boots if you're unable to get the Shazians, but the Shazian boots are free and they give us a 4 range accuracy bonus. And let's upgrade our headwear a little bit. We're gonna get the snakeskin bandana. These are like 200 GP. They're basically free, but they're gonna be a little bit more accurate. If you do have the GP on hand, you can get the archer's helm that we're gonna upgrade in just a few minutes here. We're gonna go past the 60 range tier up to 61, and this is gonna give us access to the rune crossbow, and this is gonna diverge range into 2 different categories. Heavy ranged and then light ranged, or like a slow, hard hitting type of ranged, and then a quick, lower hitting type of range skill. One of the coolest things about the crossbow is that it is one-handed, so we can use an offhand. The best one at this stage of the game, I think, is the Book of Law. It gives us 10 range accuracy. All of the d'hide shields, while slightly tankier than this, they do give us like 6 to 7 range accuracy, but the other cool thing about the book is it has a huge prayer bonus, which is useful pretty much always. And since we're over 60 range, might as well upgrade the red d'hide. It's just a linear progression past the blue, giving us a little bit more range accuracy. And there we are, the archer's helm. Honestly, you can probably skip this one. It gives you like 1 or 2 range accuracy, but it does look kind of cool. Next up, we're gonna get our black dragon hide. This does require 70 range. This is a great low-cost armor for the wilderness as well. For a range skill, it's going to give us some accuracy, and it only costs about 34k for a whole set. If we're getting black d'hide, you're at the point of the game where it makes sense to get your Barrow's gloves. You get these through the recipe for disaster quest. They're going to be your best in slot gloves for all styles for a long time. Next, I recommend getting your blessed d'hide. You're going to be rocking this for a very long time. This is not going to give us any offensive bonuses over the black d'hide, but it is going to give us more defense and prayer bonus. It is absolutely worth getting. You know what? We can squeak one more in there. Let's get our mixed hide boots. These are going to give us a little bit more accuracy than the boots we were rocking before. And I did want to just use this time to talk about mixed hide for a second. It's a great hybrid armor, and you can unlock this at 60 ranged and 50 defense. If you have these stats and you're doing something like the Tombs of a Mascot, mixed hide could be a great choice for you. But since we are just focusing on range, and I didn't want to clutter up the screen all too much this early in the video, we're going to leave it out. But just know that this could be a really good option in your account progression. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for watching this far into the video. If you are enjoying the video, make sure that you do like the video. It helps me out tremendously. It helps YouTube think that people like this to push it out to more people. people, and subscribe to the channel if you do want to see more from me. First up, for the 10 mil tier, you are going to want to get your hands on the Toxic Blowpipe. This is going to be the single most influential thing that you can buy for your account at this stage of your range progression. The Blowpipe is great for one reason and one reason alone, and that is that it attacks every 2 ticks. This means that it will attack 50% more times than the MSB that it is replacing, and 250% more than our 5-tick crossbow. This also means that on enemies with low defense, the Toxic Blowpipe is some of the best DPS that you can get in the game, and it also has a secondary effect where you can inflict venom on your enemies, which can be devastating. The Toxic Blowpipe is currently the best in slot range weapon for our fast weapon type. And with that being said, we might as well increase our slow heavy hitting weapon type with the Dragon Crossbow. This is just going to be a direct upgrade from the Rune Crossbow beforehand. Don't get me wrong, the Dragon Crossbow's accuracy increase is not nothing, but the big draw for the Dragon Crossbow is that you can use Dragon Bolts. These are going to be much stronger than the bolts that we were using before, and they can accommodate any type of gem tip. Alright guys, I am tired of looking at that empty ring slot. We're going to get the Light Bearer. This is going to be much better than the Archer's Ring. The Archer's Ring just gives you a little bit of accuracy, but the Light Bearer makes our special attack energy regen twice as fast. If you're just using range, this is going to be great for blowpipe specs because you're going to be able to heal twice as much. And if you're doing other activities like raids, you'll be able to use the other special attack weapons that you brought with you. You might be at the point of the game where Void does start to make sense for you. It's not super useful in a lot of pieces of content, but if you are running Vorkath or starting to do the Theater of Blood, this can be a great thing for you to get your hands on. How could I forget the Slayer Helm Eye? This is going to give us a more than a 15% DPS increase when using ranged with the Slayer skill. If you're a person who's doing any amount of Slayer, this is an absolute must-have for every account. This is where the upgrades kind of depend on what you like to do in game. If you're using your crossbow a ton, I recommend getting your hands on an Odium Ward. It's just 4 mil and it's going to give you a good bit of accuracy and some increased range strength as well. Next up, we have the Necklace of Anguish. This is going to be best in slot for the necklace amulet slot. They're pretty expensive right now, coming in at around 21 mil, but it's totally worth it as it is the best you can get. It's going to give us 5 range strength and a bunch of accuracy with it. One thing to note, if you are playing a weird snowflake account, this does require 75 hit points to wield. You probably already have this at this point, but if you don't, it's time to go kill Vorkath because you want Ava's Assembler. This is going to give us twice as much accuracy as its predecessor, and it's going to give us range strength as well. This one's more for Fashionscape because I like a match and set. You're going to get yourself a pair of Blessed Boots. It's only going to give us 2 extra range accuracy for a whole 1 mil cost, but honestly worth it just to have everything matching. It is time for us to start getting some Masori. We're going to start with the Masori mask, and you don't really need the fortified one yet because the fortified is really expensive and the regular one gives you the same offensive bonuses. It's going to give us the same accuracy. It's going to give us 2 range strength that might give us a max hit. I'm not going to calculate for you. You can do it for yourself, but it does only cost about 6 mil right now. And you know that I like matching sets, so we're going to start finishing it off. We're going to get the Masori chaps next, only because it doesn't go over budget. The Masori chestplate or top, whatever the shirt is, it actually gives you a better range strength per GP than the chaps do, but didn't want to go over budget, so we're gonna get the chaps first. Bro, who am I kidding? I don't care about going over budget. Let's get the Masori top going in here, and that completes our 100 mil tier, or I guess more than 100 mil tier with our full Masori. Oh wow, would you look at that? That is quite the bow. While it doesn't really fit in with the rest of our progression, it could be very worth getting your hands on the Venator bow. The Venator bow bounces arrows between enemies, and when used to fight multiple enemies at once, this can do an insane amount of DPS. If you're currently grinding Slayer or the Whisper, I strongly recommend picking one of these up. And for our first upgrade, we're gonna sell all of the Masori that we just bought in that last section. We're gonna buy ourselves a Bow of Ferdinand and Crystal. If you are looking into the bow, just search Bofa on the wiki. It will come up with the Bow of Ferdinand, but it didn't fit on here, and I don't really want to try to spell it any more than I already did making this graphic. The Bofa and Crystal is going to be a massive upgrade. This is going to give you the maximum distance that we can get for a ranged weapon. It's the same as the T-Bow. You can shoot from Narnia all the way in there. It does a massive amount of damage, but the accuracy and range strength that you see on screen here does not do the full set justice. The beauty of the Bofa and Crystal is the accuracy and damage bonuses that it gives you. while wearing full crystal, you're going to get a 30% bonus to your accuracy, which I don't need to tell you, that's massive. And then an additional 15% damage bonus. This shit absolutely slaps. So everything else in this tier is going to be more of a nice to have, and honestly, you don't really need it. You could just camp the Bofa setup all the way until you buy a T-bow, but in the meantime, let's buy back our Masori. This is going to be really good with the blowpipe since it does give us the extra accuracy and range strength with the blowpipe. So if you're doing a lot of like Tombs of a Masket or something like that, this might be a good buy for you. Another really good item that is situational is the Twisted Buckler. A lot of people kind of look past the buckler, but if you look at the stats of the buckler, they're absolutely insane. The buckler alone gives us 10 range strength, which is the same as 2 of the necklaces, so definitely worth getting if you're doing anything with Chinchampas, or if you're using the crossbow a lot, say you're doing a lot of necks or something like that. Next, we're going to get Fortified Masori, and honestly, this one's pretty situational too. If you're doing something that requires a lot of defense, or you have nothing else to buy with your money, this is really good. It doesn't give us any more offensive capabilities, but it does give us a ton of defense if you're doing a lot of necks, Tombs of a Masket, or anything like that where you're using range a lot and the defense would really help you out. Fortified Masori is a really good choice for you. All right, the moment that everybody's been waiting for. We're going to get the Twisted Bow. The jump in value of the setup is pretty astronomical. We pretty much just 4x'd it by buying the Twisted Bow. I do think that it's worth selling pretty much all of your range gear in order to get this. The Twisted Bow on its own, even in just like black D'hide, is just so strong, which might seem weird because if you notice, or if you click back to the last image that I had, and to this one, our accuracy and range strength did decrease pretty substantially. The Twisted Bow has a unique passive effect where it scales both your accuracy and range strength based off of your opponent's magic level or magic accuracy, which means that this Twisted Bow, when going up against monsters which have high magic accuracy or magic levels, which is almost every monster in the game, it hits extremely accurately and extremely hard. And now that we have the Twisted Bow, we can kind of just fill in all the blanks, which for a normal person will be buying back the Masori and everything like that, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to skip all that, and we're going to go straight to Dazana's Quiver. We'll just call it the Quiver. Anyways, this is going to give us a good amount of accuracy and range strength, and once we charge this bad boy up, it actually is going to give us an additional hidden 10 accuracy and 1 range strength as well. Next, we're going to get the Zerite Van Braces. These are the only glove slot item that give us range strength. They're going to give us some accuracy as well, but they are very expensive, so that's why we left them to so late in the guide. In a similar vein, we're going to get the Venator Ring. While the Light Bear is really good in a lot of circumstances, so is the Venator Ring. This is going to give us 10 accuracy to our range skill, but it's also going to give us the 2 range strength, which makes it make a little bit more sense and might give us a max hit over something like the regular Archer's Ring. Now, this is the point where I think every single account should pick up their Zerite Crossbow. It's an excellent special attack weapon. It automatically does a 110 if you hit with Ruby Bolts, which is, it's just an amazing amount of damage for an almost guaranteed hit. If you're running a ton of necks or other content, which this makes sense to get earlier, you should get this one way earlier than this, but this is just the point of everybody's account where this makes sense for everybody to get. And the very last upgrade of the video is going to be the Pegasian Boots. This is the single worst upgrade in all of RuneScape. Honestly, you don't even need to get these unless it's the only thing left that you have to buy. Honestly, maybe you should like look into buying a third age pick or something. Anyways, these give you a small amount of accuracy. They cost 31 million GP. I've had them forever personally, and I don't think I've even equipped them once in the last 5 years or so. You know, maybe we should just cut this clip out, but if you did want to have max range, this I guess is technically part of that. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you did get anything out of this, please like the video, helps me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me, and I guess sorry for the delays. I've been playing an Iron Man, yeah, very cringe, stuck here at the Red Prison. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.